Board's meeting of DeSoto County Schools. May I ask you to please stand for the pledge to the flag, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I see there are changes to the agenda recommendations, sir.
Madam President, I recommend the board to approve the agenda.
I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll make that motion.
I have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Superintendent's report. So,
Thank you, Madam President. I've got 4 items for superintendent's report. The first one is a residency appeal for executive session. If I could ask the board to consider that. And then I have some awards that will be given out during our board meeting today. I'm going to head down to the floor. If our board members could follow me down here, I'd like to present some awards. Members are the ones that are handing out the awards, but today they'll be getting the awards. Our school board members earned the Board of Merit Award from the Mississippi School Board Association. I'll read from the plaque that they received. It says, a board whose members have been diligent in assessing opportunities to refine their school governance skills through continuing education training provided by the Mississippi School Board Association. In order to receive this type of award, school boards must attend training sessions that are offered through the Mississippi School Board Association. Our school board is always very dedicated about doing that, and they received this award at our last Mississippi School Board Association training. I want to congratulate them for this award.
Together.
All right, congratulations. I have 2 individual awards that we'll also be giving out. We have Mississippi School Board Association has a governing executive board, and Ms. Sheila Riley was voted by the Mississippi School Board Association to be the vice president of the Mississippi School Board Association for this year. Congratulations. And they also give an award for the School Board Member of the Year for the state of Mississippi. And that award will go to Ms. Michelle Henley. These 2 individual honors are such a big deal because Ms. Riley serving on the board. She'll be making decisions that affect the education of all school children in Mississippi. And Ms. Henley receiving this award. That's out of over 140 school districts. She is the School Board Member of the Year. So that's quite an accomplishment. And for all of our board members, accomplishment for all that they do. We appreciate all their hard work. And at this time, I'm going to ask Principal Cliff Johnson to please come forward. Principal of DeSoto Central High School. He has got a group of young people that we will be recognizing today.
Thank you, Mr. Austin, and school members for having us here this afternoon to recognize our outstanding band, state championship bands. They do an amazing job, work extremely hard. Mr. Dennis Cox, I'll introduce in just a second, is the band director. He has been at DeSoto Central since DeSoto Central opened the doors. He does an amazing job year in and year out. Our band is one of the tops in the state each and every year, and this is his 5th state championship. So at this time, I'd like to introduce Mr. Dennis Cox. I couldn't do it without hard work from students. This is the smallest DeSoto Central band we've ever had because of COVID, but it is the hardest working DeSoto Central band we've ever had. We had the highest score at District 2. We went to 2 BOA regionals and made finals at both of them. We won the North Mississippi Marching Invitational. We won the state championship, and we won the Bandmasters Championship at the Liberty Bowl. And because of what they pushed me to push them, it's a push back and forth. And because of great parents and great administration, we're able to do what we do at DeSoto Central. I'm now going to introduce them. Santiago Acosta. Leo Ostadillo. Brian Barrow. Nathan Bernard. Andrew Burrell, who's out with COVID. Madison Callaway. Adriana Cantrell. Jordan Cavallo. Mohammed Sharifi. Fletcher Daniel.
Congratulations.
Ella Day. Calvin Doe. Kennedy Drake.
Congratulations. We'll go ahead and let them have a seat, and then we'll come back and take a big group picture when we get done. So if y'all want to go and have a seat and travel, we'll bring y'all back up for a picture here in just a moment, okay? If y'all get a big crowd before y'all. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Yep.
Josh Edwards. Mason Fowler. Will Gallagher. Mercy Hammond. Jason Hignight.
Yeah.
One row.
He still go.
Amaris Hill. Kennedy Hopkins. Simone Jeppy. Anaya Johnson. Olivia Lechner. Kinsey Lee. Ryan Minnick. Rylan Neeside.
If y'all want to have a seat, we'll call y'all back up in just a moment. Good problem to have, all these families.
Braden O'Brien. Samantha Payho. Carly Porter.
Congratulations.
Olivia Rivera. Madison Smith. Amarani Solis. Katie Stacy. Jordan Stevenson. Chris Strickland. Aisha Teray. Muriel Ujola.
Ava Ulmer. Cameron Waddell. Allison Welch. And Leon Zhang.
Great job. All right. And I can say I was there that night, and it was the first non-cold band performance, I think, at state championship we've ever had. They did a phenomenal job, along with all of our other bands that were performing that night from DeSoto County. DeSoto County is so well represented. And I think that's one of the reasons, having been principal at DeSoto Central, seeing bands compete over the years, is I think that's one reason why we have so many bands at the top, is they all compete with each other. And so that makes each of them better. And so congratulations. We want to get all the band members up here. We're going to turn face that way. And we're going to figure out, Mr. Cox, y'all do such a great job of formation. I'll let y'all figure out how to get everybody to photo.
Evan Hall in the back.
There you go. Y'all can use the stage. Y'all can use the stage. That might make it easy.
11, and then 10. What they told me. Right up on the edge, right up on the edge.
Hey, Russ, can I shut that thing with her wires?
For you to say.
Can I shut it?
Place right on the edge, one single line. You get a row out in front of them. You get another row in front of them in windows, quickly. And then my short row. The people come up.
Is this the whole song?
Make sure you can see the photographer. Make sure you're in a window. And
Yeah, front row visual. Yeah.
You don't wait. You don't There you go. What are we looking at first? Which one? Yeah.
just like doing visuals, right?
This first
Congratulations.
You like that?
That was all our senior group.
Thank you.
That was amazing.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Great group there. Now we have our teacher spotlight segment this afternoon. I'll ask Principal Shane Jones, Southampton High School, to please come forward.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
And before I get started, hey, congratulations to y'all for getting the recognition you deserve and for being such a great support to the teachers and students in the community as you said.
Thank you.
And, we appreciate y'all. Tim Gardner has done practically everything at Southampton High School over his 21-year career. And I literally mean practically everything. Right? All the courses we teach in social studies, he's taught all but one of them. And I'm gonna probably make him teach that next year. Currently, he's our AP Psychology, AP US History, AP Government, AP Economics teacher. He also served as our dual credit teacher. He's coached bowling and currently coaches archery. And he's also the sponsor of our government club and our mayor's youth council. And one of the things we're going to focus on today is our government club and our mayor's youth council. I think most of the high schools in our county have a government club. We're one of the, we're the only one this year, and I think us and Center Hill are really the only ones that ever go to Jackson to kind of compete in a mock legislature type session. And we thought we'd highlight that because it's a really neat thing for them to be a part of. And it's a great group of kids who go and represent the county when they do that. So with that, I would like to bring up Mr. Gardner and let him tell you a little bit about our government club and our mayor's youth council. Mr. Tim Gardner.
If I stand up here, can y'all hear me? I don't like to be tied down a little bit. I'm a floater when I teach. I float around. Well, thank y'all for giving me the opportunity to speak to you. It's an honor to be here. And but I do want to talk about a couple of things that we do at South Haven that part of it goes along with my sort of philosophy of teaching. I feel like teaching, you got to go beyond what's in the textbook. And when I was in school, they taught me the textbook and I took the test and I felt like I was done with it. I'm more about applying that knowledge. And my passion, and Mr. Usleton knows this, my passion is government and politics and getting those kids engaged. Mr. Usleton has come to some of our events over the years and seen our kids in action. And so I really try and get them engaged and also, working to get them the seniors registered to vote and those kinds of things. So I want to talk a little bit about our government club. Basically, and I don't put many words on my PowerPoints. I'm more of a picture guy. So government club is a club. It's open to all students. We do meet after school. The main thing is to teach kids about state and national government. And we encourage civic engagement. We do some community service. We always do something to give back to the community or give back to the school. A few years ago, we planted some trees and we just do various cleanups and things like that because that was part of civic responsibility. But I really want them engaged in government because these kids, they are about, they're going to be voters very soon. And at least I think that one of our major issues is just young apathy. Well, it used to just be young people apathy, but now I think it's just voter apathy in general. So I try and get these kids engaged. We do some major events. Of course, last year it derailed, the last year and a half derailed the whole world, right? And last year, all of our events were canceled except we kept on and we did just our own in-house event. The kids made bills just like normal and we debated them with each other. And actually the year that we shut down and went virtual completely, we actually did our own Zoom mock legislature, which was an interesting event. It worked okay, but it's much better to be in person. So we actually just this past month, we went down to Jackson to the Mississippi Youth Legislature. And these are just some, these are just some images from there. Basically at Mississippi Youth Legislature, what the children do is they craft a bill, a piece of legislation. It is a state legislation. We don't do anything federal. So it is all state top. And our group, I took 16 students, actually, me and there's two other sponsors that helped me with it. We took 16 students, we had 15 bills. We had one student actually served as the Speaker Pro Tem of the House of Representatives. So he paired up on his girlfriend's bill. He didn't write his own because he was presiding. And so these students, they come up with legislation. We had all sorts of legislation. And, the children, because they are coming up with these ideas and researching it, they end up being very good at debating it because it is something that they care about. It's not like the debates that I had to do in school where the teacher said, here's your topic. It's like, I don't really want to debate, the literature of Laura Ingalls Wilder. And no offense if you really love Little House books, but that was a topic I was given. I didn't put my heart and soul in that, did I? But these kids, they come up with these ideas, and it's something that they truly, truly care about. There's just some more pictures. This year it was held at the King Edward Hotel in downtown Jackson. Normally, under normal circumstances, we're in the state capitol. And that's another aspect of my teaching philosophy is I want to give the kids experiences. Okay. We live in DeSoto County. We're about as far as we can get from Jackson, Mississippi. Our kids identify with the Memphis metropolitan area more than anywhere else. And there's nothing I love more than putting a kid on a bus and taking them to Jackson, Mississippi and saying, this is our state right here. And showing them that. And just the awe they see when they walk through the doors of the Capitol. But King Edward, it was a substitute, but it was all right. So these are our officers that served. We had Drew Hammond. All three of these boys are seniors. Drew Hammond, he was a committee chairman. Jeff Wheeler, he was the speaker pro tem, and my son Matthew was the House Majority Leader. He liked that because if he raised his placard, the speaker had to call on him. So he spent a lot of time at the podium. Like Mr. Jones mentioned, Center Hill High School has done that. He generally goes to this event too. But these are just some pictures from a couple of years ago when we were able to do it. Both us and Center Hill in 2019, we got Premier Delegation Awards. So we took our picture by the school bus. Just a little nod to DeSoto County. And just, the students, this is a three-day conference, and it goes from 8 o'clock in the morning till 11:30 at night. And except for an hour break for lunch and an hour break for supper, they are debating legislation. They go to committee, and when they've done in committee, they go to chambers. We only had members of the House of Representatives. So our students this year, if they passed committee and passed the House chamber, then they had to go cold into the Senate where they didn't know anybody and had to present it. And this year, more than any other year, we got more pieces of legislation to the governor's desk. We actually ended up with 4 pieces of legislation signed by the governor, that's a really big deal, particularly having to go through all these things. And so the kids were very, very excited about that. We always take a group picture in front of the gate of the governor's mansion. I always speculate on which one might be living there one day. So I don't know, but it's always fun. They really enjoy it. And again, I love giving them the opportunity to have these things. Now, this is just an example, Bill, to show you. The reason it's my daughter's is because that's the one that I could get approval to show y'all right easily because she rode to school with me. So, but anyway, hers was about allowing in-person early voting in Mississippi. Changing. We have the absentee. So this is one. It's in the news. It was something that, and so it worked. Unfortunately, hers got vetoed by the governor because line 17, where it says section 2, she did not put a period after that 2. So it got vetoed for grammatical errors. Okay, that's a good lesson for the kids too. Particularly my 9th grade daughter. I guarantee you she won't forget a period next time. So, and these are some pictures just from previous years. This is actually my 13th year to do this. We've been down to Mississippi Youth Legislature about 12 times. The highest elected position that our students from South Haven have had is Speaker of the House. This year we had a Speaker Pro Tem, and then we had a Majority Leader. But it is a great, great program. And I was thinking as I was preparing for this, thinking about where the students over those years have gone. And I counted up, I've got over 20 students that either are now attorneys or are currently in law school that came out of this program. There's several in medical school, but this program, it's not just learning about government. This learning teaches them how to network, because to pass legislation, it's a micro legislature. They have to go make allies, and they might have to say, okay, I like your bill. What can I do? This kind of thing. And on a normal year, there's over 300 pieces of legislation they go through in 3 days. And we always joke that maybe the actual legislature could take some notes from these kids on being able to move things along. But it is a great, great program, and the students really enjoy it. And the picture there too is to the far left. Actually, the person in the middle of that is one of my co-sponsors. She was a student in there, but she now teaches at South Haven High School. So, and actually, the person next to her is a journalist in Washington, D.C. So we've just it's been a great program, and it's just a blessing to be able to do that.
Also, this is just one from a few years ago. We met Roger Wicker. A few years ago, we met Miss Cindy Hyde Smith. We get opportunities to meet even our federal senators. So it's a great program. Also, this is a joke, and if any students travel with me anywhere, everything's a history lesson for Mr. Gardner. And my family's the same way. If I see a brown sign that says a historic marker, we're turning off. So we're walking in Jackson, Mississippi, and these students happen to all have been in my U.S. history class that time. And these are actually both on the grounds of the Capitol, which we were going to. And so I stopped and showed them the figurehead off the USS Mississippi that sailed around the world in 1909 with the Great White Fleet. And like, Mr. Garner, why we got to learn this? I'm like, wait, look over there. There's another sign. Let's go read it. And so they call it touring with Gardner. And so I always point out. So that's just kind of their running joke. If they go with me, they're going to be busy the whole time. So that was just kind of the joke there. Now the other again, my students will tell you I'm a complete dork when it comes to the government. I'm just it's my thing. I like it. So Mayor's Youth Council was another great opportunity for me that was presented by the city of South Haven a few years ago. Actually, us, DeSoto Central, and now North Point Christian, we all have delegations in the Mayor's Youth Council. And our city does a little different. I know Hernando has a Mayor's Youth Council, but it's set up a little different. Our city sets the number of seats on the Mayor's Youth Council, and it's competitive to get those seats. But again, members are learning about civics and the operations of city government. It's actually a lot like our SYLC that we have here for the county. But they serve as city ambassadors. They go to various events throughout the year, and they do a lot of community service projects within the city of South Haven. And membership is competitive. It's an application process, and each school is allotted so many positions. So we end up with a total of 36 on the council. And so this is a very good leadership that gives opportunity for leadership on resume. We do elect a chairman, a co-chairman, and a recording secretary. So there's a position for each school each year as an elected position. So we just have some images here. They get sworn in at City Hall. We also go on an annual trip, which for the past, actually, the Mayor's Youth Council trip was the last event before the world shut down in 2020 for us. Like, we went on the trip, spring break, and then it was kind of done. I actually gave them their awards cords in the parking lot before they went in to do their one-on-one graduations. And but we go on a trip every year, and this year we're going at the end of February to Delta State University. It's always hosted by a university, so the kids get some exposure to the college, but also they get to network with kids from all around the state. South Haven, we're one of the larger cities in the state, so our cities are very different than, say, they go meet with somebody from Mayor's Youth Council from Saltillo. Okay, much smaller place. Different, and so it's a great program. Just that's us touring. And a couple of years ago, we got to meet Delbert Hoseman when he was Secretary of State. Again, touring with Gardner. If we're going through Jackson, Mississippi, that bus is going to stop at the Capitol because we're going to meet somebody. And so we got to meet Delbert Hoseman. He actually took a whole hour and spoke to the kids about the importance of voting. He was one of the best talks from an elected official that we've had. Now, I had to throw in a little lesson for you. I teach a lot of stuff. I just do. I love teaching psychology. History is my main thing, so is politics. But I also teach economics. And economics and psychology go very hand in hand together. And this year, this year's just a rough year. With the kids, we got the kids coming back from virtual. There's sometimes there's low morale, that kind of thing. And I was thinking about some economics, and me and Mr. Jones were talking. I said, well, we just need to think at the margin. Now, thinking at the margin in economics terms is what it's like one little change that you can make that can have a very big effect in the long run. Okay. To my students, I say, okay, think parallel lines. If one turns just a little bit, as those lines run, that one line may be going very far or coming together. And so we started talking about this. And so we started thinking at the margins, what little change can you do to make your school day better? What little change can you do to my students that can make you do better in this class? And
like, it really started with what can we do to build up school spirit, which thankfully our football team did pretty well this year. So that kind of came along, but it was just what little thing can we do? And so this marginal thinking, that's the theme of my class this year. I just adopted it, is we've got to think at the margin. What can we do to make your time better here? What can we do to make you get more out of this? And how can we make our whole school better? And so we kind of adopted that. I do school spirit days in my class where they all dress up in orange and blue. And we also brought back Dress for Success days, which does Thursdays, which thankfully is Thursday, so I didn't have to go out. I didn't have to pick something else out to wear today. But basically, you know, if just changing, that can changing what you're wearing can change your thinking and have a positive impact. So that was just something I had to leave a little lesson with because I am a teacher. So, but marginal thinking, and I tie that in with my economics class, but I'm applying it to everything now. How can we make it just a little bit better there? But I do thank you for your time. It's a blessing to teach at South Haven High School. It's a blessing to teach in DeSoto County. And Beth knows I was only supposed to be here one semester. And 21 years later, I'm back. I'm still here. But as always, great things are happening at South Haven High School. So thank you all very much.
I like the theme that you took today too, because if I had to say, to describe what I've seen from your teachings at South Haven High School, how students do apply that. It's not just about you teaching them within those four walls. And a story that I don't even know if I've ever shared with you, but I think it was 2017. I was with the Superintendent Youth Leadership Council in Washington, D.C., around right field, watching the Washington Nationals play the New York Mets. And I sat there by myself, and this student comes up there talking to me and says, "What are we going to do about MAEP?" And I was like, "How does he even know what MAEP is?" That's our funding formula. And he said, "We need more funding from MAEP for our schools." And so I started talking to him. I realized he was one of Mr. Gardner's students, and he was one that had really become passionate about that and knowing what it took to fund the school district, do those things. But it was those lessons that he learned in your class. And but that's just one example. I can name other ones of things that I've seen in the community that you've impacted. So keep up the great work. We appreciate it. Great. All right. And if y'all need to go, Mr. Jones, I understand. So, all right. I'll work first year. All right. Thank you, Mr. Jones. All right. That concludes my superintendent.
Thank you. Attorney support.
Yes, ma'am. We have one matter, it's a disputed contract matter that we need to discuss in executive session.
You've all received a copy of the minutes of the November 18th board meeting. If there are no changes, do I have a motion and a second to approve, please?
I make a motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. On the consent agenda, A through Y, your recommendation, sir.
Madam President, I recommend the board to approve the consent agenda.
Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
I make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. New business. As usual, you have the floor. Classroom additions and cafeteria expansions, so simple.
Yes, ma'am. We opened bids on November 12th for the DeSoto Central Middle School 10-room class addition in the cafeteria expansion. We had 6 companies to submit bids. My recommendation, accept the best and lowest bid.
Your recommendation, sir.
Madam President, I recommend the board to approve the lowest and best bid for pool and construction for the classroom additions and cafeteria expansion at Central Middle School.
Do we have a motion and second for these additions to the service implement?
I make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contractual agreement with Fulton.
Yes, ma'am, we're requesting permission from the board to enter into a contractual agreement with construction for the project at DeSoto Central Middle School.
Recommendation.
Madam President, I recommend the board to approve entering into a contractual agreement with Boyd Construction for the classroom additions and cafeteria expansion at DeSoto Central Middle School.
I have a motion and a second for contractual agreement with Ford.
So moved.
I have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Request to withdraw line item bid for janitorial cleaning and paper supplies.
Yes, ma'am. Bids were opened on September 28th for the purchase of janitorial cleaning supplies for the district. The winning vendor for the toilet tissue dispenser has retracted their bid. We're requesting approval from the board to purchase the toilet tissue dispenser from the winning vendor, which will be American Paper and Twine.
I have a question about this. Do we have two motions and second this return on this? If we're going to then approve with the board, then we are done. Your recommendations.
Madam President, I recommend the board to approve the request to withdraw the line item bid and to approve the lowest and best offer.
Do I have a motion and a second to withdraw the line item bid and approve the new?
I make that motion.
I have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Request to pay vendor purchasing.
Yes, ma'am. In your packet, the letter from the principal of Old Park Elementary, they had to put the Hill Park Center, do an in-school field trip prior to requesting a purchase order. We have contacted the Hill Park Center to let them know that they have to have a purchase order going forward. We've had 2 or 3 of these with that one, art center. So the school is requesting to pay the art center for the student activity from the school student activity.
Recommendations.
Madam President, I recommend the board to approve the request to pay the vendor for the purchase rule issued at Oak Park Elementary School.
I have a motion and a second to pay the vendor for this purchasing rule issues.
So moved.
I have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Wood.
Thank you.
Ms. Gray. Statement of revenue and expenditures.
Okay. Our revenue collections through October for the general funds are at $70,969,648. We are up 8% over last year. Last year we were at $65,569,347. And again, it's the same reasons for our MAP and our Avalon. Revenues for all funds are at $82,878,357. We're up, actually that should be 9% over last year, and it's due to the same reasons. Expenditure-wise, through October for general funds, we're at $70,907,390. Compared to last year, it's not much difference, only 2% over last year. $69,775,656, but we expect to normally be 4 to 5% over last year, so down 2%. So again, we're taking advantage of the ESSER funds to try and divert anything from districts that we normally would do. And thanks for the report.
Recommendations, sir.
Madam President, I recommend the board to approve the statement of revenue and expenditures for October 2021.
Motion and a second
So
to,
moved.
do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Cash statement of cash flow.
That's right.
Okay, our district maintenance cash balance for the end of October is at $109,192,164. The invested balance included in that is $28,641,250. Our all funds cash balance is at $153,330,533.
Recommendations, sir.
Madam President, I recommend the board to approve the statement of cash flow for October 2021.
I have a motion to approve the cash flow statement for October 2021.
I make that motion.
I have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Combined balance sheet for October 2021.
The fund balance for all general funds for the end of October is at $115,192,900. 119,555, which is 14% over last year. At the same time, last year, we were at 100,782,872. And again, we're just benefiting from increased revenues, decreased expenditures. That's the result.
Recommendations.
Madam President, I recommend the board to approve the combined balance sheet for October 2020.
Have a motion for the combined balance sheet of October 2021. Have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Certification of bank reconciliation, October 2021.
All bank statements have been reconciled with no exceptions.
Recommendations.
Madam President, I recommend the board to approve the certification of bank reconciliations for October 2021.
Do I have a motion to approve the certification of bank reconciliation, October 2021?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Ms. Grant. Here comes our long-winded.
Not today.
Oh, goodness.
Short and sweet. Good afternoon.
Personnel.
Pages 1 and 2 are recommendations. Pages 3 and 4 are personnel changes. Page 5 is a memo from Ms. Hassman, Assistant Superintendent of Accreditation Academics, on approval for Mr. Keel as an adjunct college algebra instructor at Centerville High School to teach 2 sections at $2,500 per section. Page 6 is a memo from Ms. Hassman on approval to add 1 additional data customer support service unit for student interventionist and programs department. It will be paid with district funds and on the data support pay scale. Pages 7 through 9 is a district student data auditor customer's job description. Page 10 is a request for additional pay from Ms. Murray, our director of EL. She requested the EL department to host 2 Saturday ACT workshops between January 22nd, 2022 and ending 3/27/22. In those dates, the teachers will work a total of 72 hours and be paid $27 per hour. Page 11 is the list of those teachers who work. Page 12 is a request for additional pay from Ms. Hatchman on Ms. Daughtry. She will work she'll work as a Mississippi Valley College dual credit college algebra online instructor for Lake Commerce High and Horn Lake High. She'll teach 2 sections, 1 at each location. She'll be paid a total of $7,500 beginning January 5th, 2022 and ending 5/24/22. Page 13 is a request for additional pay from Ms. Hassman on Ms. Denham, who will work as a Mississippi Valley College dual credit general biology for South Haven High School. She'll teach 1 section, at each location, be paid a total of $2,500 beginning 1/5/22 and ending 5/24/22. Page 14 is a memo from Ms. Hallmark, our Director of Child Nutrition. She's requesting to add an additional unit for procurement, data, customer support to assist with the excess duties that have evolved due to the supply chain issues food service is having. It will be 230 days and we pay for the data support scale. And pages 15 through 17 is the child nutrition procurement data support job description.
Recommendation.
Madam President, I recommend the board to approve personnel as presented.
Have a motion to approve personnel as presented. Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Student discipline, Mr. Finley.
Madam Chair, we have a student discipline matter to address in the executive session.
This being our first meeting of the month, we have public comments. We will not be commenting about a student or a student's teacher or any of our personnel. As a board, we welcome public participation in our board meetings. While this is not a debate setting or a question and answer session, we reserve this time at our regular board meetings for the public comment and for citizens who have requests to appear. Are there anyone who would like to step forward to the public comment section? Seeing no one and we have no request to be heard, I will entertain a motion to consider going into closed session for the following matters. For the residency matter, the superintendent had the dispute contract with the attorney, the student discipline matter that Mr. Finley. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
We stand in executive session. Mr. Chase will come back and tell us if you have any changes.